Perfect. So today we're going to go through the compliance dashboard. So the compliance dashboard is Disposal's newest tool that we've got, and it's all about assurance when it comes to compliance within the waste industry. So it's all about duty of care, it's all about data, it's all about understanding where your waste goes and comes from. Let me just take these off. So what I'm going to do is just start by sharing my screen, and we can get in it from there. So I am sharing my screen already, that's fine. Okay, so this is Disposal's compliance dashboard. So when you first log in, I'm here as an organization called Disposal Limited, that is us, but also as a user called Disposal. So on your dashboard here, when you first interact, what you'll see is just a quick breakdown of both yourself, but also the organizations that you follow. So as Disposal, what I can do is just scroll down this screen a little bit, and I can see that my supplier compliance is 100% healthy. So this is great. So 23 out of the 23 suppliers that I follow have got all of their accreditations in place. So this is the target. This is where we are trying to get to. If we move a little bit further down, we can see the site coverage. So all of my sites have different documents against them, which means that anyone that's following my different sites, my different profiles, can see that information. So this is really abstract and a bit kind of difficult to understand when you're just talking about one document and you're talking about a company that does not have any waste sites in particular. So one aspect of Disposal that we've been talking to different individuals, different consultants, different partners, different disposal sites, different local authorities, is what they want to do is the ability to move between organizations. So here as Disposal, as the user Disposal, what I can do is switch my organization. So I can go into Acumen Waste Services, who's one of our partners in this. We're working with them to build a tool that works for them. They are a UK-based waste management operation used kind of throughout the whole nation, which we'll see more about that later. They have infinitely more sites and deal with infinitely a lot more waste than Disposal does, and we can see that as we go down. But we can see that their compliance health, which is fine, is a little bit lower. Now, that's not a problem. That just means that they need to go in, nudge their clients, nudge their suppliers, and make sure that they're getting the information that they need. And then one other aspect of this is local authorities. So again, we have Leeds City Council. As a user, I can switch between different local authorities, and I can go into Leeds City Council. So from there, this is Leeds City Council. Again, they've started their journey. They have 8 different documents. We can scroll down. At the moment, they're not following anybody. Again, this is fine. They're new to the system. But what we can do is we can go into analytics, and this will help Leeds City Council out. So we are now looking at their analytics about their site. So because Leeds City Council have a household waste recycling centre, we can see some information about that. So we can see that in 2024, they received 3,251 tonnes of waste. We can see that all of that was recovered, and we can see it was picked up in Yorkshire and Humber, which is kind of what you expect from a household waste recycling centre. Again, I'll go into these charts slightly later on in the session. So next we're going to go into your flow. So this is a new tool that we've added, and this is all about kind of waste data flow and understanding the suppliers, the sites used within Leeds City Council's waste data flow. So if we scroll down, we can see that this is the most up-to-date data, so 2025 that's been released. And we can see a node edge graph. I think I prefer this color myself. And what we can do is we can go into Leeds, zoom into Leeds, and we can see their different suppliers that they have. So we can move this around so we get a better understanding. So this just kind of shows that there are multiple tiers to Leeds's waste data flow. If you don't know what waste data flow is a data set that's online and available, openly available, and people can get that information and use different items from it, which includes the who, the what, the where, the when, and the how of municipal waste. So what we're saying in this chart here, that each one of these, so I'm going to hide the labels, each one of these facilities here receives some form of waste from Leeds City Council. So this is great to kind of visualize it, but visualizations is only one aspect of what disposal does, disposal's compliance dashboard. So what we can do is we can now actually see all of their suppliers in this list. Oops, what I meant to do is press the 1 to 50. So these are the different first level suppliers. So this is the place that Leeds sends their waste to first. We can see Veolia at the top, and we can scroll down, and it's by tons of waste sent order. So we can scroll down and we can see where their waste ends up. We can also see that some of these sites are on disposal on the compliance dashboard. So Veolia, it's green here. We can see that their details are on disposal. And what we can do is we can follow those sites. So we can follow Veolia at their former wholesale market site. What we can also do is scroll down the list, and we can actually see everyone within their chain. So again, what we're going to do is just scroll down this and see all of the different items. So if they are orange, site details can't be found on disposal. Contact your suppliers, get them onto disposal so you can see their documentation. Also, we can click these buttons and we can find different information about them from different data sources. So by clicking the company's house number, we can go and find information about this company. If we click on the license number here, so I'm just going to pick one at random, Novellis, for example, we can see the information about that Novellis site. So this is linking all of these different data sets together, company's house, environment agency, all in one place, so we can create this web of information. Perfect, brilliant. But what we want to do is we want to actually, whoops, a daisy, we want to find more information out about this. So I'm going to find in this list our partners, Acumen Waste Services, to find out the information about their sites. So let me just scroll down the list. There's a lot to look through. And what we're going to do is we're going to actually see what the information that they offer. So this is Acumen Waste Services. I'm going to hit follow on this one. Once I've hit follow, that adds it to my suppliers. So I'm going to go to view. And then I can see information about Acumen Dewsbury. So that's the site that Leeds City Council uses. We get information about this site. We can go down further. And then this is where Waste Data Interrogator comes in. So again, we have the data from the Environment Agency. And Waste Data Interrogator is the who, the what, the where, the when, and the how of waste sites within England. So when waste is received on sites, this is the information that you see. As we go down further, we can see that these are the EWC codes they receive. This is the fate of the waste that's received. So 100% of waste in 2024 was received by Acumen, was recovered. And we can see where they operate. Understanding where a company operates is really important, because if you are looking for a waste stream and you're in, let's say, the Northeast, but a company you find is only based in London and only works within London, you don't want to be using that facility. So we can see that Acumen operate all the way around Great Britain, but not in Northern Ireland. And then if we scroll a little bit further down, we're getting more information about this site. So we see that it did 10,000 tons in 2019, and then the trend was it reduced down, and then it plateaus and it sits around just below 9,000 tons a year. So this isn't marketing. This is very much about assurance. This is about credibility. This is about understanding what will happen to your waste after it has left your site. So in this case, as Leeds City Council, we can investigate all of their waste data flow. Scrolling down a little bit further, we can see then the types of that waste moving across sites. So again, we can see they do a lot of hazardous waste, and then kind of some household, industrial, commercial, and a tiny, tiny, tiny bit of inert. Again, this gives you, as a waste professional, the information you need to understand about where your waste is going. But that's, again, this is only one aspect of disposal. So this is using waste data flow, creating connections with facilities to find information about those facilities. But let's take a different route. So in this route, what we're going to do is I'm going to switch back over to disposal. So disposal, I'm a small waste management company. No, I'm a small company. Sorry, I'm not a waste management company. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use our Wasteosaurus to help me classify waste. So the Wasteosaurus has all 842 EWC codes classified against over 15,000 different keywords. So this helps people understand what can happen to their waste and how that waste should be classified. So for an example, what I'm going to do is I'm going to type in toluene varnish. So toluene varnish, if you know about EWC codes, you know that that is not the way that it is described. Good code for toluene varnish is 080111 star. Star just means it's hazardous. So what we do is we grade these internally within our database, and we can say this one, there's a high confidence match that it's this type of code. As we scroll down, we can see that different items have yellow symbols. This is like a medium strength confidence match. And then lower down still, we've got red. So it's still being flagged. It still could be a 1, but the chances are it's slightly less likely. And then obviously we have items, there's not 842. So what we mean is that we are able to understand the type of waste. So what I'm going to go into next, just going to deep dive into 080111. So what we can see here is more information about this code. So we can see it's waste paint. We can see that we have which chapters and subchapters it's from to give us more context. And then we've also got our tags. So we can see it could be toluene paint, xylene varnish, toluene varnish. This all just gives more confidence that this is the right code. But then what we can do is go one step further down. So again, using Waste Data Interrogator, we can see the fate of this waste stream, this 080111. So we can see that in 2024, again, that is the most recent data that we've got. In 2024, if you sent this waste, the chances are it was recovered. There is a small amount of disposal that happens with this waste, but that's just the way of it. But however, if you look a bit further, we can see that most of this waste gets stored and goes to another code. So all that means is basically it's going to a transfer site, which is fine. It's a good use of this, bulking up this waste to send it somewhere else. We can also see which regions are producing the most type of waste. So Yorkshire and Humber in this example produces the most type of waste, and we can see trends over time. So one of the things I want to just quickly look into, because I find this interesting, and as waste experts or people interested in waste, you might do the same. So I want to look at a specific code that I do find quite interesting when you look at the data. There's 200307, bulky waste. So bulky waste, this is kind of like that big stuff, like a cooker, maybe, probably not a cooker, mattresses, metal beds, bunk beds. And what we can see is different trends over time. So again, the chances are it would go to recovery. That's great. The Northwest produces a lot more than this than the East Midlands, which is interesting in itself. But if we go further down, what we can see is different trends against this code. So kind of sits around that 1.4 million tons mark until 2022. And then after that, it just peaks, it goes off. What we do as data analysts, as data people, I can tell you the who, the what, the where, the when, and the how of this waste. I cannot, unfortunately, say the why. As waste professionals or people who've been in this industry, you might understand what might be happening there. When I've talked to some people over the last few months, we think this is about POPs, but it would need more investigation. But I think that was just an interesting way of looking at this data. Perfect. So next what I want to go into is go back to my 080111. Because now that I've found a code for that, what I want to do is find this in my directory. So I'm going to hit find directory, and I'm going to look for a place in my area. So let's type in Bradford, West Yorkshire, hit search, and now I get a list of different facilities that accept this waste. Brilliant. So I can zoom in onto the map, I can flip this to cards to see it in different ways. And again, I'm going to use our partner organization here, Acumen Waste Services, to find more information about them. So we can see information about them. We can see their contact details, opening times. We can see the services they offer. So has waste transfer, chemical treatment. This all sounds right. We can see their compliance information, so quality management certificates, product liability, things like that. So they have the right credentials. And also we can see that they accept this waste. So this waste operations, they have a permit, they have the credentials in place to deal with this waste. But these EWC codes are not from their permit themselves, because that could be just generic operations. But this is waste that they have received from Waste Data Interrogator. So this gives us more information. And again, if we hit following on this, what we can see more of is we can see the information that they requested. So again, we can see that they do accept 080111. We can scroll down further and we can see that they do recovery. We can see that they do all of this. So it's layering all of this information together. But not only can we see their Waste Data Interrogator information, we can then go one step further. We can go into their view documents and we can see the documentation that meets their additional requirements for waste duty of care. So they have pollution liability for insurance. If I click on this, I can see the document itself. Let's zoom out a little bit. I can see the document itself to download from my records. I can see an indemnity limit. I can see the expiry date. And because this is tech, every day we go through and we check all of the expiry dates and we send out notifications to the followers of these permitted sites. So if I head over to notifications, I can see information that I have received about the organizations that I follow. So we can see that Frank Barnes's environmental system certificate expires on the 17th of July. On the 18th of July or 17th of July, they will update a new one and we'll receive that information. It's not just I who receive that information, it's anyone that follows them, but also that site themselves. And what we can do is we can see both our suppliers who we follow, but also our followers. So we can see how many people are following us as a site who are receiving this information when it gets updated. So us as Disposal, we have 175 followers, so that when we update information, 175 emails will be sent out to those organizations. And then linked to this is we know as tech providers ourselves that people have their own software in place. They are doing this already. This is a requirement. But what makes this different to about just having this information on a website, which people go to and download, is this creates assurance rather than just accessibility. So as assurance, we can give you as Disposal information about licenses when they expire, how to get them. When they are just uploaded to a website, that is available, but it doesn't give us access and information. But as I was saying, there are a number of different ways that we can do this. And within our account settings, we can go into our organization, so Disposal Limited, and we can gain access to our APIs. So this is a suite of APIs for the compliance directory and for the Waste Thesaurus. So those 842 EWC codes with the 15,000 different keywords, you can gain access to that. If you want access to over the 4,000 sites that are currently on Disposal with their information against it, you can gain access to that. And all of this information is constantly being leveraged and used daily by us to improve what we can see. So what we're going to do now is just open up the dashboard again and kind of explain some of the other features of this. So this is features, not really benefits, but you can have, let's jump over to Acumen again. Acumen have 4 sites that are active and they have 67 members. Those members can pick and choose the kind of notifications they are receiving. So these are the information that I receive as a member. Not 67 users need to understand and receive all of these documents, but what works really well is cascading. So people can receive the information they need as it cascades up. So these are all of the different information that is available and required. And honestly, that's about it. That's all we've got for you folks. So because it's a LinkedIn Live, I have no idea if anyone's watching. And also because of the tech we're using, I don't think I can see comments. Let's just go into comments briefly. But no, cool. So I think that is it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my, wrong way. Going to go back to my slides, and thank you very much for your time. Sorry we started late. Honestly, the world of LinkedIn Live is difficult, very, very difficult. I can see some comments actually. Oh, yes, brilliant. So I am live. Great. So brilliant. So thank you very much for your time. This is going to be recorded and saved into LinkedIn, but also onto YouTube. If you are interested in the compliance dashboard, contact me. These are my details below. The QR code is to a booking reference, a booking form within Microsoft, so you can book some time with me and I can go through it yourself with you at your time and leisure. So I'm just going to double check to see if there's any more recent comments, if anyone's interested in anything. No. Perfect. Cool. Well, thank you very much for your time, and please get in touch. Thank you. Goodbye.